Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Minhua. Adam and I are back again, and we are here to give the weekly market update during this COVID-19 health crisis. Hi,
Wow,
Adam.
that was a legit intro, Minhua. No, it's great to be here. Looking forward to diving in with you and giving everyone the heads up of what's going on this week. Though everyone's isolated right now in their homes, there's still a lot going on in the marketplace, in the mortgage market and stuff. So I'm really excited and looking forward to spitting all of this together with you. And yeah.
Yeah. Again, I have burning questions related to the questions I asked last time. The rumor about lenders start to decline new applications, new loan applications. Um, I wonder during COVID-19, is there anything different for the new purchase loan applicant? And what's the difference if there is anything that's different?
So a lot's changed over this last week. As we get further and further into this, I think a lot of people anticipated with we'll say the stimulus, more like a relief, injection, that things would sort of get a little easier. It sounds like a lot of companies currently are adding overlays to their mortgage guidelines. So they're getting a little bit more stringent on things. I think I read recently that a company is putting essentially on self-employed borrowers, and obviously this is not every company, but a couple specific companies who they're basically taking 25% off the top on self-employed borrowers right out the gates, just to cushion for any kind of volatility in that way, because obviously our businesses are going to sort of suffer being self-employed, right? So that's probably the hugest thing. My real big recommendation right now is that even if you're pre-approved, essentially, I would probably revisit your lender and just make sure that you're still qualified for what you initially were qualified for.
Mm-hmm. Just to clarify what you just said, did you mean if I was pre-approved before, today is April the 3rd, so if I am pre-approved before, let's say, I believe the ordinance started on March 19th. So before March 19th, I was pre-approved. Even though I'm within that 30-day window, I should still revisit what I am approved for, what loan amount I'm approved for. Is that correct?
Yes, I would absolutely do it. If you haven't been, I would honestly say, as odd as it is, in this current environment, you should probably check in weekly with your lender just to make sure that there are no new rules that are in effect. Because every day is something, depending on the company you're with, that you're working with, guidelines have been changing left and right. So you just want to make sure that once you find that home, that you're not going to have a problem qualifying for it, even under these unique circumstances.
Okay. What happened if I am laid off right now, but my employer told me once the ordinance and all the restrictions are lifted, I will be back to work, and I'm still receiving income from either from the relief package or from the unemployment insurance or other grants. Does
So
that change anything for my pre-approval?
that will absolutely affect your pre-approval. Not
Mhm.
to be the bearer of bad news, at least from anytime you shift into consistent income to all of a sudden questionable, right? Whether you're receiving unemployment temporarily, it's hard to qualify you based off of something that's short term. And so I know in this particular market, they're probably not going to qualify you for a pre-approval at this time.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people that are being furloughed right now,
Uh-huh.
right? So they still have their medical, but they're no longer receiving income, and this is all in order for them to be able to claim unemployment. So we'll still continue to see unemployment rates rise over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that's something to really keep tabs on. If you end up losing your job or being furloughed, it will absolutely affect your approval.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I hate to ask this question as well. So if I was actively looking for homes and I was pre-approved, but suddenly my income status changed, not that I'm not receiving income, I might have to pause because my loan might not be approved.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with lenders in this current climate, we're looking for consistency, right? And so, even if you do a temporary reduction, if we are certain that, if it's a modest reduction, I think we should still be fine in getting approval, um, as long as the ratios all meet, right? Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
If it's a dramatic, like you go from part-time to, or from full-time to part-time, that absolutely can affect us, our investors willing to actually approve that loan.
Mm. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying all these little nuggets. I think if anybody have questions, especially if your income and job status has changed, I definitely should contact Adam or your own lender you've been working with. Um, so my next question not only applies to the current market condition, but I think it applies to many home buyers. So for someone who is ready to purchase a home, how soon should this person to contact a lender? And I think for now, how soon they should contact a lender during this current crisis? And do I, as a buyer, always go with who I bank with?
So a couple things. So I used to work for a credit union back in the days, and I think I still continue to promote everybody, because I mean, the right lender is the right lender for you type of deal, right? The parameters, everything, they're almost cookie cutter for most buyers, but it's finding someone that you trust and you're comfortable with, right? So obviously, uh, I as much as your neighborhood bank, they may not always give you your best interest rate. I always highly recommend, even with my clients directly, I always recommend them looking into maybe 2 or 3 different avenues just to see what's out there, just to see, because honestly, when we're talking about like one of the most important things in your life, right, purchasing a home, you want to make sure that you do your due diligence, right? You don't want to ever rely on one person to give you all the answers. You want to be able to get some answers and do some research on your own.
Mhm.
As far as time frame, I know most people either look to home sites, right? We won't name any of them, but uh, they usually look to home sites, or they go directly to the real estate agent first.
Uh-huh.
And my recommendation has always been, you always need to go to your lender first. That should always be the first and foremost, because that sort of gives you the parameters that you can buy in. And so when you're having that conversation with your realtor, uh, that gives them a clear idea on the parameters, so they can find the home that you're looking for, versus, unfortunately getting caught up in that dream of finding a house that's amazing, but not realizing that you can't afford it or whatnot. So
Mhm.
again, my whole recommendation's always been, talk to your lender first, let them run all the numbers, show what it looks like conservative, find what your actual monthly, what monthly payment you feel comfortable with. If you're, and that will help you. A lot of times you even have people who don't think they can qualify, right? And they're like, oh, well, I have to put 20% down, and they don't realize that they don't. You can bring in substantially less, or even, some programs like down payment assistance programs can get them into their homes,
Mhm.
but they're just scared about the process. So the first thing they
Mhm.
have to do is deal with the big, hard, tough question, right? And go straight to your lender and work out all the numbers to give you that confidence, so that when you're looking for your home, or at least a game plan, right? So even if you don't qualify, at least coming up with a game plan to be able to get there sooner than later, versus just, I guess, floating around, just hoping
Mhm.
sometime you'll be able to qualify. So lender first, everything else second.
Yeah, I actually 100% agree. And whenever there is a prospective client start conversation with me, I always ask them if questions about the numbers they are comfortable with, and I know talking about numbers sometimes it's nerve-wracking, sometimes it's embarrassing. It actually does make us feel many different things, but it is good to know your number. At least that's my recommendation as well. So as I just asked, is there any difference how soon I should contact lender, especially during the current time? Is it
So
even sooner the better, or it's the same?
it's still the same. I mean, the reality of it is, and I think I mean, I have questions for you, obviously, and so there's certain things that will sort of there's going to be a correlation between why it's important to still reach out to me right now, right?
Mhm.
Though the market's changed, there's still stuff out there, and so this might be a decent time to still look if you can, right? If you're
Mhm.
not so much, if you're not so worried about your um, financial situation, and some people aren't, you know, they have very, you know, reliable jobs, you know, and so they may not have to worry about it. And this might be a good opportune time for them to still purchase. So being able to run the numbers and getting that all clarified right now would be probably good.
Mhm. Thank you for adding that additional note. Um, so
So
yeah, go ahead. I
can
know.
I jump in? Can I? Because
Yes,
you hit me
absolutely.
with multiple questions, so now it's
Yeah.
my turn to get you to ask you a couple of questions. Because honestly, like we both live in the Lakewood area specifically.
Oh, oh,
Um,
you want to tell people we are all in our backyards, right?
we are in backyards. We're in
We're
our
a few
backyard.
blocks away from each
We're
other, but can't do this in person.
we're, social distancing. We're being respectful of everybody and trying to be responsible. So, you know, we're both in our own backyards in the city of Lakewood. And you know, but I'm curious, and I think I'm still coming across people who are like, what's going on with the market? You know, as far as like, has inventory, you know, everyone's always talking about we have a shortage of inventory, and has that gotten worse, or has that, you know, improved, or are people not putting listings on? You know, so yeah, I mean, how's the inventory and the market going right now?
Um, the total number of inventory definitely, or I want to say the number of active listing definitely went down
Okay.
even further. So if you say there are not a lot of options before, there possibly are fewer options now, and because sellers are using a variety of different strategies to protect themselves. One thing they want to protect themselves from is to see that accumulated days on the market. So they do have that legitimate concern. But again, as I said last week, for buyers, there are fewer buyers. Really, there are fewer buyers out looking. Even furthermore, this week, I hate to say this, but more people got sick, right? And more people's economic condition uh, have changed because of the impact of the pandemic. And so if you are a salaried person and you feel your job is very secure and you already started the process, or you already started the process to do the research of purchase home, definitely go ahead, because this is a great opportunity for you. There are fewer people that will be competing against you. So
So
for this, yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, 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 go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
let me cut you.
For
I was
the
listening.
sellers, it's very interesting. This is like Christmas time, right? If I can draw an analogy, a lot of people were sellers just around major holiday time. They also wonder, shall I put it on the market? Will it sit on the market because there are not a lot of people shopping for houses right now? My recommendation is you don't need 100 buyers. You just need that one person who's willing and loves your home and who will buy your home. So put it on the market if your home is ready and you are ready, right? Um, because there are still people out there looking. And that, again, if you don't put it on the market, you will miss that opportunity. Now, you even have a better opportunity, because in the future, let's say in May, another buyer comes in and see your home has been on the market for 30 days. Guess what? You have a very legitimate explanation, which is the real explanation. we are in shelter in place. I didn't have that many people coming to see my home because they can get out of their house. And I want to be honest, how many people are comfortable making a major purchase without going outside and go into that property and take a look? I guess the number is very low. So if you do have accumulate, because you're worried about accumulated days on the market, there is a really good reason for it. And I think buyer would be extremely understandable in May or in June or later in the summer because they just experience that themselves. So that's my recommendations for the sellers. And definitely, if you're ready, this is the moment. Don't hold back.
So just sort of to build off of that, obviously you said that inventory's gone down. So fewer listings that are out there. I mean, there's still purchases that are still going on. I mean, I know on the lending side, we've done a couple of escrows recently that opened up and closed. And, but on your side, I mean, there's still a lot of properties that are going into contract, right?
Yeah, there are still a lot of, I think every day there are properties going on the market. There are still properties going into contract. It's not dropped to zero. The overall picture, yes, it shrinked a little bit. It shrank, not just a little bit, shrinked. I want to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's if you look at individual cases, there are still people, as I mentioned, there are still people going into contract. There are still people putting their properties on the market. And it's a variety. There are just, for example, in Lakewood, there are home that's well maintained and moving ready in high 600s. And there's also investment opportunities in low 500,000, under 500,000.
Yeah. So, well, we're talking about sellers right now, and obviously if they're looking, they have a little free time on their hands, right? I mean, not everybody, some people are working from home, but they're at home. So they save themselves anywhere from, what's the average drive time for most people? Like 30 to hour and a half each way. So they've saved some time recently. And since they're home, if they're contemplating, right, putting their house up for sale in the near future, what are some of the things they can do while they're at home to start improve the value of their home moving forward, so that maybe they're not ready to do it right now, but like you said, in May that could trigger off this whole big influx of listings. And obviously the most appealing houses are the ones that are going to be sold first, right? Well priced. What can they do to sort of beautify their homes?
That's such an excellent question, and it's kind of a timeless question as well. I think a lot of people's go-to answer is, oh, I need to redo my entire kitchen. I need to redo my entire bathroom because the bathroom looks like it was done in the 80s or in the early 90s. The answer is actually no. And of course, depending on your budget, right? Improve your home will just bring joy to your life in general and increase the value of your home for sure. But the number one thing everybody should do if they are getting ready to sell is to declutter and organize your home, and then number one of organizing is make sure all the surface areas is clean and clear of clutters.
So the number one is to declutter, and the number one of number one is to make sure that
perfect.
you
yeah, so it could be your I'm not going to use kitchen countertop because that's very easy to declutter. You can put everything into your cabinets. But how about that coffee table or dining table? What did you put on there? And that kind of, some people use a kind of a pantry closet or a pantry cabinet thing, but it's not covered with doors, so people can see all the things on your shelf. How many things are there you put on that shelf? And a lot of people likes to just throw their keys or the flyers you got onto that kind of the bar countertop on your kitchen. And you also have fruit baskets on top of that. So how many things are there on that countertop? You really want to almost like a zero, nothing on there. maybe a nice planner or a nice candle, that's it, but not a pile of newspaper or unopened letters, that sort of thing.
So the first thing is first, they need to declutter everything. Is there anything they can do? Because my neighbors are sort of handy people, so they've actually started doing some modifications.
Huh.
Nothing crazy, but they're just doing subtle things to their house. And they're not planning on selling, but they are just
Yeah.
doing these for, like you said, for lifestyle. And so, like, is there anything specifically, without having to do any major construction or renovations or anything else other than decluttering that can maybe help improve value in the home?
I'm sometimes really cheap to redo the bathroom and kitchen, unless your bathroom and kitchen really need major updates, right? It is expensive, and especially during this time, there are fewer people out working, even though the electrician and a plumber and contractors do considered essential workers to make repairs and necessary updates to make sure everybody is healthy and safe. But some people choose not to work just to be safe, right? So even before the crisis, the labor cost of doing construction work is higher than what it was before. So a fresh coat of paint is really good. If your entire home is well maintained, right? And if the outside of your house, if you are living in a single family home and your outside house, a lot of people say, do I need to paint the outside of the house, to repaint the outside and the inside? For the outside of house, if the color is lovely, just power wash it. Wash your house.
That's a good one.
Right? Then the next thing I would do is to see your flooring. If your flooring is worn and or is really inconsistent, you have one patch of some kind of hardwood floor in one room, then the next room is laminate materials, and another room is carpet. You possibly want to bring consistency into your flooring and just change all the flooring, and to make sense. Maybe every bedroom has carpet, but the outside has the wood flooring or tiles, so something like that. And I think the laminate or the wood-like tiles look really good now. They are very cost-effective as well, so you don't have to bring in very expensive hardwood floors. If you don't have to, you can still find really beautiful, also durable, high-quality flooring materials. So personally, I like the original hardwood floor in a lot of Lakewood and Long Beach homes. If you have those underneath your carpet, and it's not very, or it's not covered by anything, and it's just slightly damaged, maybe you can think about repolish those hardwood floors.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
On top of that, then you can start doing your bathroom. After bathroom, you can think about doing your kitchen. But mainly, if you do these updates, it does invite the question, did you update the system? So if you simply just change a vanity, cabinets and mirror, it doesn't really bring any value to any significant value to your home. The overall feeling when somebody walks into your home is very important. That's why if it's clean and bright and open, doesn't have to be the newest countertop or cabinets, will already be very inviting and make people feel it's moving ready. So that, I think, are the top goals for people who are thinking about selling and thinking of selling and polishing their home at this moment.
Nice. So that's everybody's task for this week. Declutter. Yes. Declutter.
No matter what. I decluttered my work areas. I threw away so many we have a lot of documents. I mean, we have to do record keeping, but
Of
not
course.
all of them have to stay in the so visible area, or some of them can be shredded and disposed properly. So yeah, absolutely. And I also want to say, if some of your home may be vacant, I really believe in staging. So do stage your home,
Good
and it's
advice.
good for the photos, especially nowadays, because people can't go outside to see the home. They really rely on the photos and the 3D rendered photos or tour. Um, so staging is possibly even more important now.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think that we are a little out of time. I know we have to. I know it's Friday. It's though we're at home. I think it's time to have a happy hour. At least for.
Absolutely.
So I just want to thank you for again having me on here and sort of honestly, just giving us some kind of insight of what's going on. The world doesn't stop.
Uh-huh.
This whole pandemic is occurring, and we're all in it together. And but it's very important to constantly stay informed. There's constant updates on the lending side. There's constant real estate updates. The do's and don'ts. And I'm sure in our next segment next week, we'll dive into some other updates, and also some possible. I have some questions regarding. Some I don't know, maybe some ADU stuff. So I'm gonna spring those questions on you come next week and see what we get into.
Yeah, and I always have questions, and I appreciate you share your insight always, and thank you for joining me. Do you have any happy hour plan today or this weekend? Virtual
So
happy hour plan?
one thing that I realized is that restaurants are still open, so you can do your pickup, and I do recommend you going to your neighborhood restaurants and supporting the local businesses.
Mhm.
But one really cool thing is they actually are serving alcohol to go, and
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
yes, so I'm on my way to. And I guess I don't want to plug any specific restaurant, but I'm going to plug them anyways. I'm on my way to Lola's over in Long
Oh, I
Beach
love Lola.
Hills, and they will package up your margarita for you along with your food. So I'm right after I'm out of here, I'm going to pick up the wife and, well, not pick up, but I guess ask the wife to let's go and shoot over there. So
Oh, thank
how
you for
about you?
sharing that. Again, I'm cheap. I do have virtual happy hour plan. They haven't sent me I was about to ask my friends for details. I'm going to drink my highball at home. I have whiskey. I have,
Very cool.
yeah, I have soda water. I like that drink. So, well, enjoy your Friday drink. Thank you
You as
so
well.
much.